What's up and what's happening, everybody? It is 920 Tesla here with a new video out for you. Trying something a little different. I'm going to try to add some commentary. Let me know what you guys think here in the comments if you do give it a watch. Again, just trying to get a little bit more polished and also provide some better feedback as to my thoughts on the driving software so far. So this, as you can see in the bottom left corner, is 13.2.9. So it is a hardware for Model Y Juniper 2026 that I am driving here. This is a Tuesday morning drive, so you'll see a little bit of that business traffic going on. Again, not too much of a concern throughout this drive, but I do want to highlight two incidents as well as kind of just an annoyance with the software that I'm seeing. Again, no problems, no major problems. Really enjoying it a whole lot better than I was on my Hardware 3 on 12.6.4. But, it is not perfect yet. I will say it makes sense that Tesla has held off on making this unsupervised. Here we go. We get left lane there, and then we kind of get back over. Kind of an awkward thing again. But that was not the incident by any means, just a little bit of a weird scenario here. So we do have that Tuesday morning business traffic as we get over that we will be experiencing. So we have a little bit of construction. This is on Highway 41 headed southbound towards Appleton, Wisconsin, which is typically a pretty heavily traveled area between the Green Bay and Appleton area, with it only being a 2-lane highway. So you will see cars continue to merge. We're not having any issues here. It is a 70-mile-per-hour zone. But we do ultimately come upon some issues as this construction gets a little bit heavier when we actually see an incident that will be on the right-hand side, and that is from a car being towed away on a flatbed truck. So what the problem is, and what you'll see in this clip 65 coming up here, is the Ryder truck up ahead will try to merge and get over for the incident. However, it feels a little bit uncomfortable because the Tesla actually decides to try to accelerate a little bit while the car is trying to merge. So here we go, clip 65, showing you the Tesla attempt to accelerate. We get up to 23, 24, 25, 27, 29, and then we drop back down. We kind of let the truck in there eventually. However, it was weird because the whole time, the truck does turn on its turn signal and trying to get over and do the right thing. However, the car doesn't quite recognize that, so it kind of feels weird in this case, right? If I was somebody who was not supervising the vehicle, if this was a case where we were having unsupervised full self-driving and then I happened to look up and see that kind of thing, it wouldn't make me feel all that comfortable. It did not make me feel all that comfortable in the driver's seat, I will say that too. But ultimately, of course, no damage, no problems, and we get to continue on driving here back on that highway. Just one of the things I wanted to highlight, which I thought, I am in hurry mode, so I will disclaimer that. So maybe that made things a little bit more aggressive than it would have been normally, but I have to stay in hurry mode because I've also noticed some oddities on getting up to speed when I am not in hurry mode. So this is just an example of the Tesla kind of being maybe a little too aggressive and not helping fellow drivers out on the road. All right, so we continue down here on Highway 41 as we start to approach our exit coming up here. We do have a slight mist going on that's about to start and get a little bit more heavy. Of course, in typical Tesla fashion, the auto wipers aren't the best, so you'll see me clicking the steering wheel there to make sure that the wipers do activate. But we do start to come into this misty zone right before we have to make our exit. So we'll get on over, and no problems there, of course, right before we exit onto Richmond Street. So we'll have a red light, a nice little long red light here, but of course I sped it up for you guys to save some time. So we get through this red light and we'll hop on to Richmond. There are a few intersections on Richmond Street. Mainly there is a roundabout as well, which you'll see here. Now this incident that I want to call out in 66 is my destination is on the right. However, the Tesla, you'll see, starts to turn on its left turn signal and tries to get into the next street. So I thought that was kind of weird. And then the other thing I'm going to highlight here is trying to leave my destination, I was not able to activate autopilot. And this is something that I've experienced quite frequently when I'm not at home. Being able to activate the autopilot and FSD from park with the press of a button when I'm not at my home, when I'm at the destination, does not appear to work, which is kind of weird to me. Why that would be the case, I couldn't tell you. So I started the manual drive and then kind of tuned in to full self-driving. So we continue to see the mist here, as you'll see those wiper blades continue to cross the windshield here, but we do have a little construction on the way back home. And the last thing I wanted to call out was that annoyance and something that I have submitted feedback for on the new Tesla feedback, and that is just speed limit reading in general. So of course, as I mentioned before, on the way down was a 70 mile per hour marked zone. However, with the construction, for safety purposes, they do decide to mark it down to a 60 mile per hour zone. So that's what you'll see, and I will highlight how the Tesla does not read the speed limit sign and continues to act as though it is a 70 mile per hour zone. Of course, the car in front of us, the lead car, helps slow us down and make sure that we don't exceed that kind of barrier. But you'll see that 60 mile per hour zone clearly marks speed limits all over the place. However, if we zoom in here, you can see that 70 mile per hour zone is still showing up on the screen. So not a great feeling for the safety of ourselves and for the safety of those around us. And I would like to see something like speed limit signs being read in future versions of FSD. So we got that a few more 60 mile per hour zones that I just wanted to highlight the signage as we continue to make our way back from our destination. Outside of that, we continue to see, here's another one, a good example. There is the mist going on, not a problem, of course, for FSD. It can just wipe away with the windshield wipers, and here we go, another 60 mile per hour zone. But that's construction ends, and then it's a smooth sailing drive the rest of the way. Of course, we've got the end of the highway driving before we make our exit. It does make kind of a bold decision to get all the way over onto the left-hand lane. Of course, I, again, am in hurry mode, so it makes sense that it would try to go as fast as possible. But a little bit of a weird incidence here that'll come up when it tries to get into that left-hand lane, when I have to eventually make a pretty quick exit on the right-hand side. So we are in the far left lane, but you will see it is able to start to make its way over and look for its gap to get onto the exit. So waste no time getting off on the exit into a roundabout. We wait, we yield for a few cars into another roundabout, of course, and then we've got a couple more intersections. That one was slightly aggressive brake just due to the fact that the red light was there. Of course, the safe thing to do. Did feel a little hard, but nothing to really worry about. We then make our way through a few more intersections before we get back over the bridge into Pierre, Wisconsin here. Now that bridge is kind of a different bridge. It's one of the first roundabouts in Wisconsin, so it's kind of unique in that sense. But here we are, we're driving. I did have to kind of turn up the speed limit at one point on the bridge. You might have seen that. But that was just more of a comfort thing, as others around me, nobody really drives that 30 miles per hour. And then we kind of get through that last roundabout and we've made our way back. So let me know what you guys think. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on X at 920Tesla, and happy to continue making videos for you all.